Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Tuesday night stream. We are running a little bit behind time, as I understand, but we find ourselves at the track, which is Silverstone, Great Britain. Not one of my personal favourites, but a lot of the drivers, obviously, a lot of the drivers come from England, so it should be a popular track tonight amongst the drivers. Alongside me tonight in the comms box, we have Hugs. How are we doing, mate?
I'm doing good, yeah, not too bad.
Nice to have you back in the comms box with me this evening.
Yeah. Especially after my little technical issue with my headset, but I don't think we'll go into that one.
And breaking your ankle with some slippers.
Turned out it was not actually broken. I pulled a muscle, which I don't know how that's worked.
I say, have you been keeping track of Division 1 at all this season? I know obviously Division 3 is still yet to get underway.
Yeah, I've been looking at it now and then. I've been dropping in when I can. Obviously, with my division now, it's quite a hard one to try to keep your admin up there.
Our division.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think Torres agreed now that he's standing down the zone of D3 and he's passed it on to me. This is what I'm aware of.
Big movements in the Indigo admin team. Heard it here first. I say, moving forward, a couple of drivers to be on the lookout for. I don't believe we have the driver champion from last year. I believe Adam Thompson is missing from the grid tonight. Opens up a lot of opportunities for other drivers to take that place. I believe Thompson's not in the lobby, am I correct?
No, he's not.
He's missing. If everybody that's obviously joined us as well this evening, don't forget that this week it is the sprint week round Silverstone. It is the new in-game format, so it will just be, I believe, a 9-lap sprint round the Great Britain course, track, whatever you want to call it. One-shot qualifying sets the grid for the sprint, and then I believe we have a feature race afterwards. So it's going to be a long evening, ladies and gentlemen. Get lots of popcorn, lots of fluids in you, because I'm sure there's going to be drama between the 14 drivers, is it?
Yeah, 14, yeah.
14 drivers in tonight, yeah. Only 4 drivers looking at missing out on points this evening. All of them will be looking at avoiding doing exactly that. Just waiting for the drivers to set up. Now, anything from you, Hugs, regarding Silverstone?
It's one of the oldest tracks in Formula 1 calendar. We're first racing the Argo race. I think they've got to watch out for Cops Corner, as we saw from the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and the Red Bull of Max Verstappen last year.
Yeah, seems only like yesterday. And here we've got the drivers in one-shot qualifying underway. So currently we've got lots of drivers shifting up and down. I expect Czech to be there or thereabouts. Currently in.
Shadow Realm's out.
He's invalidated his lap, Ben. That won't be what he was looking for. A couple of drivers chucking themselves up and down. Bennett down in P12. That's a bit of a shock from him.
I think the Red Bull of Czechs has got it here.
I'm not too sure. Jamal and Mark are very close. Bennett's invalidated as well. That's going to chuck him to the back of the grid and put Ben up one place in the sprint. And Badgeman's also gone as well. I'm not too sure why Bennett's underneath Ben.
We've got Czech and Mark here fighting for that P1 spot. I think they're literally doing up equal times.
Give the Ferrari driver a bit of footage.
Jamal's now P1.
Yeah, Kevin checks all the way down to P4 now. Back up into P3 for Czech. There's lots of movements coming around these last couple of corners. Jamal's taking P1 off Mark. Mark's dropped down into P4 now. That's going to be horrendous last couple of corners for the Ferrari. Check into P2. Is it going to be Jamal, Check, or Kevin for the P1 as they're about to cross the line? And they're doing it's Jamal, Check, Kevin, 1, 2, and 3. Mark losing out by 1/10 of a second there on a podium spot. Still good for the second row.
Yeah, especially on this track as well.
Yeah, I believe Tikawi must have spun if he's not finished yet.
If, for example, the bottom three, how easy it is to invalidate these laps. We've both raced here.
It's always the danger of the sprint. With the one-shot qualifying is you just can't be too aggressive. A lot of the drivers, sometimes it's better to be less aggressive and just take the banker lap almost, as opposed to, you know, going gun-ho, balls to the wall and invalidating, which a couple of the drivers did there.
I think that was Bennett, that one that we're talking about there.
Yeah, I'll let you do a rundown of the one-shot qualifying, Hugs.
Alright, so obviously P1 we've got Jamal with the impressive 1.27.8. Then Check not overly far off behind him, down in P2. Then Kevin P3, Ferrari of Mark Ball P4. And Liam, if I'm correct, Yuri, is he a new one? I haven't seen him before.
Yuri is a D1 driver.
Yeah, I thought I hadn't seen him before.
Yeah, he's definitely a D1 driver. I tend to get him and Horatio mixed up. I'm not too sure why. But yeah, that is the first couple of drivers there on the grid. Which be waiting for the cars to start, set up the cars, change tyre pressure. Although we've got a message from Check in the chat saying no one changed the setup. Not too sure what that's about.
I think it's because by the looks of it, it's a wet one. So I think he's trying to throw people off there. Mind games.
I have asked the question why. Is it raining?
Yeah, it's a wet sprint.
Drama in Great Britain. I wonder if it is raining for the race. Do we have a formation lap?
I'm pretty sure we do. I think we're supposed to.
Are they racing?
I think they are. I think a lot of people have got caught napping here because they thought it was going to be a formation lap. I think it is.
No, it's a formation lap. It definitely
Yeah.
is. How can you not tell if it's a formation lap or not? I'm smoking by the back door. I'm no one in my TV. I'm just commentating without looking at the screen. That's how that's how good a commentator I am. I don't even need to look at the screen to commentate. So we've got Check leading then. The front row, Check and...
I don't think they'll want to get too far out here because you've got Bennett all the way down in P4 who'll be wanting to reduce their tyre temp as much as they can.
Yeah. I suggest what we do is I'll ride with the front of the pack for the time being. If you want to ride with the middle, Hugs, and try and catch any incidents that happen, it's bound to be one in turn one.
Talk about an incident. Man just spun by T. Kelly.
Mark,
on the formation lap.
Mark trying to get some insane heat into those tyres.
Which means Benjamin all the way at the back. His tyres will be the warmest, but Jamal's and Check's will be the coldest.
I think they get locked in at a certain point, so I think they'll be fine. Once that kind of pull-in box appears, that's on the grid.
I think at that point, though, you do want to have them tyres as hot as you can.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I think anywhere between 80 and 90 degrees is kind of the optimum temperature.
Yeah.
Here's the drivers lining up on the grid now for the 9-lap sprint. We've got Ben, Jay and Mark all disqualified. Just parking the car too forward. Badgeman as well. And here we are waiting for the 5 of the red lights to go out in Silverstone. Division 1 Indigo Racing, and they are off. It appears that the Mercedes of Bennett's got a great start at the back. Czech's got a wonderful start, taking Jamal into turn 1. Yuri and Morph have also made a great couple of gains.
That Red Bull of Morph, I was just watching from the line, that was some pull off.
Yeah, Morph up into P4 and all over the back of Kevin. I'll say an intermediate. Whether it's going to be a test. We've got Jay, Mark and Anne all side by side. Red Bull check. Put it off.
Making the move here. Getting past T. Kelly and Sticker 8.
Doing both Aston Martins. A double move up 4 places. Morph and Kevin are back and forwards again.
Looks like the Aston Martin, so we're having a little bit of a scrap.
And Jay's right at the back of Yuri now. I'm surprised there was no contact there. He's had to get off the accelerator, causing the Ferrari and Haas to bunch up behind him. It's only 9 laps, so we're going to have 6 laps of DRS. I believe Mark will not be happy with this start. Down 3 places in between 2 great mates of his. I believe Ben's made a move and T. Kelly around the outside. T. Kelly's pretty much giving it, but he's going to come back down the inside now. T. Kelly 50-50 on the grass, and he's got it done. And the next corner, he's looking down the side of his teammate. Stikovic is looking like he's going to be quite vulnerable on the exit. T. Kelly goes around the outside. Up the pit straight, and Stikovic hands his teammate. That's a great move from T. Kelly up into P12. Bennett and Horatio as well. Bennett flying around the outside of turn 1 there of Horatio.
No one's got more to deal with.
We've got yellow flags. I'm not too sure who it is that is around.
Kevin's down.
Kevin's down to P10 now. 8 places lost from that spin. It's now Czech, Jamal and Yuri all relatively spaced from the pack behind.
Watch this, the fight between Morph and Bennett.
Awfully
close.
Yeah, they're literally touching the back of that rear diffuser of the Red Bull, and it feels like deja vu. We've got a Mercedes looking at the inside, and he decides against it.
I'm not joking you. I had shivers down my spine seeing that.
Flashbacks massively. Jay's still all over the back of Yuri. Czech and Jamal allowed to just run their own race at the front of the pack. Kevin gaining one of those places back on T. Kelly. And Badgeman, I'm not too sure what's happened there. Kevin's absolutely flying. It's 2 places up on the straight there. Heavy usage on the ERS, no DRS activated as of yet due to weather conditions as well.
Jamal there with the fastest lap.
Yeah, 1:39.6.
This will be the track starting to clear from 3 laps of racing. Slow track evolution in the wet, from correct?
There is indeed. Stikovic with a 3-second time penalty at the back of the grid. And Jay's going to be all over. Oh, we got Yuri getting a bit out of shape. That's going to bring Jay onto the back of him. Yuri's going to have to be hard on the ERS, which he is, to defend. Is Jay going to have the inside line?
What a move I have just seen from Bennett, but Morph blocking it off. Amazing. That was just some racing I've just seen there. Ooh, talk about that. Bennett just give him a little love tap.
Still riding on board at this battle with Jay and Yuri. Jay's gone up the inside of Yuri up Cops. It's now through Maggots and Beckett's, and he's going to have the position. Mark licking his lips in the background. I promised him no screen time, but he is in on the action here.
I don't think Martha's doing a really good job keeping Bennett behind here.
Yeah, it's a great battle between 2 great racers here.
The only problem is here, this brings Horatio into play.
It does Horatio and Kevin as well, having spun, and we've got a virtual safety car, I believe. VSC conditions, I'm not too sure what for. Has somebody maybe lost a wing? It is, it's Ben. Ben's lost his front wing. Very lucky to get, he's retired from the session.
I'm pretty sure there's rules against this now, isn't there?
I think so.
Oh well, if I'm correct, D1 sprint races, they don't get reversed, do they?
No, they don't. It's not. It's different rules to Red Arrows.
Yeah, alright, yeah.
Bit of a gap now forming between Yuri, Mark, and still all over the back of the Ferrari though. Almost touching the rear wing, maintaining a great line. Just clips the apex on the exit onto the accelerator with the ERS as well.
Jamal's got a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings.
It's going to bring Jay up into P2 for the sprint. 6 points? Oh, it's 7 points. Is it 8 drivers, 8 points?
Not sure.
Should really know. And heavy on the ERS now, wants to get that P5. Having only just missed out narrowly on the Driver Championship on a Monday night in Red Arrows. Finds himself 3 positions behind the Driver Championship. Jay.
I think
And we've
me
got
and Jay are teammates for Williams.
You are indeed. And speaking of Jay, he's just set the fastest lap.
I think it's time for me to be the new Latifi. Or should I be saying go Latifi?
Watching this battle between the Ferrari and the Haas, it's still going on. 4 laps remaining in the sprint. Check after that move in turn 1 round Jamal is pretty much solidified.
Oh,
P1.
Bennett just made a move here on Morph. Morph again, covering him off.
Morph is not having any of it. They're almost touching.
Ooh.
It's going to be up Cops, Maggots and Beckett's. Is Bennett going to try anything? Oh, Morph just using a little bit too much of the curve than what he would have liked there. Bennett using the slipstream to great effect here, clipping the apex wonderfully. He'll have to be nice and early on the ERS to get a great line. Morph's a little bit out of shape. Is Bennett going to be able to take advantage? And here he goes down the outside. It's going to be the Mercedes against the Red Bull. Possibly a little bit of contact. Not going to get the move done on the outside there. And there's a little bit of contact again. Bennett's pursuing this move. Morph isn't going to let this go easy though.
Ooh, I think that one might get looked at later on.
He's going to be trying for the switchback, but he's not been able to get it done. Is this going to be where Bennett's going to sail off into the sunset? See Morph's true pace now. Horatio will have to keep pushing to catch up to the pair. Oh, Jay's got a 3-second time penalty. That's going to push him down a couple of places, possibly.
I think that might bring Yuri won it to P4.
Yuri to P2. Mark maybe P3. We'll have to see. And the time penalty as well, so that's going to push him down.
I was about to say, I was just trying to make a move on Mark there.
Oh, and T. Kelly's just spun Kevin. We've just caught on to the end of that. The Aston Martin spun Kevin round. The other Aston Martin.
Saying thank you very much.
Yeah, that might be looked at as well. We've got both Williams at the back now. Both Aston Martins behind, or in front of them, sorry.
Got Blades here making a move on Markable.
Down the outside. Goes the high. Smart goes very defensive though. Cuts the corner. He's going to push. Oh, we've got an Alfa Romeo. It's Jamalov. Jamal from P2 has spun it. And in the commotion, Ant's actually managed to get the position from the Ferrari. And how is Mark going to fight back, if at all? Both drivers running similar amounts of ERSJ. Now obviously up into that provisional P2. Yuri, 2.3 seconds, and the gap is extending. Can Jay get a 3-second gap and keep his P2? The podium is looking pretty much likely at this point for the McLaren driver. His teammate also in the points, I believe. I think it's 8 people, 6 or 8. I'm sure it's 8.
We've got to give it to Czech as well.
Like I say,
we haven't seen much from him from normal drive from when there's the sprint race. He's kept that comfortable lead out there.
So Barry's excellent start and is overtaken to turn 1. He's not had to do much, just bar drive sensibly. I think he's the only driver over 50% ERS remaining.
Wow.
Stickovic is 87, I'm not too sure why. So does Bajman. But the rest of the drivers have deleted their ERS pretty much down to 0. It's going to be that gap now between Yuri and Jay. And Horatio is actually keeping up to the back of Morph now.
That, here comes Jay, chasing after Czech within a second.
Still got that 3-second penalty there, doesn't he? All he'll be looking at doing is extending the gap from Yuri, which he is doing, which is almost at 3 seconds now. 2 laps remaining.
There we go. He's got that 3-second gap now. And it keeps on increasing.
And with the fastest lap of 1:38.6, that's going to give him, I believe, it's 2 points for the fastest lap. Jay still closing that gap and has actually managed to get a 3-second gap on Yuri. So this is, as it stands, P2.
Chipping away at it.
One and a half laps remaining. It's Czech from Jay, from Yuri, from Ant, from Mark.
Just had Bennett set a purple in sector 1.
All penalties for 3 seconds.
Oh, we got. Oh, Cameron's just spun again. I think he might have
got
touched.
Both Williams.
I think he might have just touched the back of Stikovic there. And he just caught the end of it.
We've got both Williams. Span off the track.
Not being Williams there.
No. Ant coming up to the back of Yuri, like I say, the move's going to be pretty pointless. Ant's going to get chucked down to P6 quite possibly, which is unfortunate. Badgeman retired on the track as well. And now, last lap. Ant is less than 2 tenths behind the Alfa Romeo now. Riding on board with him, he's going to attempt to switch back here, quite possibly. Doesn't have the room, he wants to try it here though. Not there, he's going to stick behind him and hope for the slipstream. Hope that that Alfa Romeo gets out of shape at some point. The gap extending. And then it's decreasing. Ant's fighting back every corner now. We've got Bennett and Bow as well, almost fighting. And then 4 cars at the back behind Morph in P7. I don't think anyone above P9 has any penalties that will force them out the points as it stands. I don't think anyone's going to be making any moves. They're all about half a second away.
I wouldn't count Jay out here. couple of corners left. Try squeezing him in somewhere.
And Ryan Watts check now through the last corner, and it's check from Jay. It's going to be 3 seconds ahead.
About that. Horatio's just made a move on and off.
Yeah, looks like Morph's going to be overtaken on the outside. And he's not, he's kept his place there. Morph, T, Cali, Jamal. Say we've got Yuri and Mark in 3 and 4. Jay's penalty didn't affect his finishing place. Bennett up 9 places into P5 for the Mercedes. And drops down to P6 with the penalty that he incurred. Horatio and Morph rounded off the point scorers this evening. I believe we're just waiting for Kevin to come around this last corner now to finish us off for the Great Britain sprint. How do you feel that went, Hugs?
That was some racing I've seen there. Some of them battles I've seen by some of these very experienced drivers was just amazing. Tricky conditions, but they managed it.
Not a race I would be like. It is 8 places, 4 points. No.
Sorry, what did you say?
No, it wasn't. So who got the fastest lap then?
I think it was Bennett.
For some reason, it isn't coming up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the fastest lap went to Bennett. I think he stalled it on the last couple of laps.
Oh, so what? A sprint race. Looking.
Shit. Excuse my French.
No, he's looking ahead of the feature race. It looks to be bright. Ooh. The sun is out. It doesn't look like there's going to be any wet tyres this evening. A lot of the drivers are happy. I think that's what Czech meant when he said don't change your setups. I think he was letting the drivers know that it was going to be a dry race.
I mean, I've got a feeling we know what most drivers like. They don't like to listen to others. I think some might have changed it for the wet, and we'll end up facing the consequences of that.
In the dry race, indeed. Anyone have a little bet, Hugs? Who's your money on this evening?
This might sound cheap. I'm going to say Czech. From watching the sprint race, I think you could easily keep this ahead.
I'll just be different because I like to go against the grain. I'll go for Jamal. I think Jamal's got some raw pace. He just needs to nurture his aggressiveness and kind of not try push it too hard and just kind of take a little bit less risk at times. If he does that, I believe the race could be his. I believe the drivers have just accepted the setup.
This is a formation lap, Liam.
It is, yeah. There's the pit strategy just on screen for the spectators.
I'm still waiting for it to pop up for me.
It only brings it up. It brings it up randomly. I don't know why. Gives us a chance to catch our breath.
If I didn't go for Czech, I'd have to go for Bennett. Because he started at the back in the sprint, all the way to P5.
Indeed, there was not last week, but the week before, there was a front 3 battle for P1. It involved all 3 of the owners, Bennett, Czech, and Thompson. So they've all got huge pace. So the front 2 of Czech and Jay are really getting a move on. The rest of the pack.
I think down the straight they might Personally, I'd slow down a bit down the straight. Don't think Czech's wanting that.
No, I think even though it locks the temperatures in, I don't think it matters too much. There's the strategy again. So on the mediums, around lap 11 to 15 for the hard compound. People who've started on the softs going to be on a 2-stop. So looking at tyres, we've got lots of variation throughout the grid. The front three all on different compounds. The hard, soft and mediums.
I think Czech's showing off a little bit of skill there.
Yeah, Jay going for the long run on the hards. Yuri, he's going to be very aggressive on the softs in P3. Look out for him.
Got Bennett as well going looking in the long run. P5 on the hards.
Let's see what sort of start the Alfa Romeo gets. I think he's one to ride on board with. Another one, Morph and Horatio for you, Hugs possibly. Look at the launch of the Alfa Romeo. See the difference of the tyre compound away, and it appears that Jay's actually got a better start than the Alfa Romeo, which is very strange. But here comes the tyre advantage now. More grip. More flying into P4, 4 places in the first corner. People say it can't be won from...
someone's span. It's Bennett.
Bennett down.
Front wing damage.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it's been. Jamal's down 3 places as well. Possibly an incident gone on at some point there. But this front 4 are speeding away from the rest of the pack. Jay and Yuri pushing each other to the limits. Yuri trying to use that tyre advantage over Jay's harder compound. Check as well. Only 3 tenths ahead of Jay. Yuri lobs it in to the... Oh, what is it? It's not Maggots and Beckett's. Cops. And look at the closing speed there. And he's going to get early on the ERS.
That's like tangents, like usual.
With yellow flags, it's the Alfa Romeo of Ben round. Retired in the sprint.
Let's just see what he does here.
Gets it going again. No one really knows taking place. We've got Horatio and Kevin, the closest duo. As I said that, they've just spaced out to about a second. Check with the fastest lap, 1:35.6. Yuri needs to make good of his tyre choice. Needs to get those positions and get some space between him and the cars behind and in front. Is it going to be this corner for Yuri? Right behind the McLaren of Jay. He's pulling out. Is he going to fail to move down the inside? Here he comes Jay, just covers off enough ground to make him think twice. A purple sector 1 from Yuri as well. And we're going to come up the old pit straight now into Cops. Is Yuri going to try something? Slingshot around the apex. He dummies down the inside. Jay does not move. Through Maggots and Beckett's now. And he's closing ever so much. Is it the hanger straight? I don't know.
Yeah, this one's the hanger straight, yeah.
Oh, is it? What a guess. Now Yuri, say, just maintaining that 2.5, 3 tenth gap. Him in the car in front. A bit of action there. It's nice to see that Bennett has managed to get the car going again.
Change on some soft tyres. Possibly go for a 2-stopper now, or do you think he'll change back onto the hards?
Yeah, definitely. We're giving him back onto the hards at some point, I imagine. Tyre wear around Silverstone isn't the best in terms of how long you can stay on the tyres. So a couple of drivers closing up now from around P3. Yuri's right behind Jay, and Yuri's got the move done on Jay down the inside. And Jay's going to have to succumb to the pressure that Yuri's been putting him under these last couple of laps. up the old pit straight now. You see the old tyre markings through Kops riding on board with Yuri in P2. Already half a second ahead of Jay. Managed to generate some serious heat in those softs. T. Cali fighting up from a rather poor sprint. P9 failed to get some points in P7 now. Say Aeon down the inside of Morph. The outside of Morph. Morph's going to push him all the way. The better tyre compound. Oh, there's no contact there. Great racing. Wheel to wheel. I believe Morph's going to push him around the outside, but he's going to have the inside line. Ant's going to have to attempt to call it back. But the softs prevail for the Red Bull. That's bringing the Ferrari of Mark right behind Ant now. Some great races in the midfield.
I was just watching that. How close that was. That was 2000 and I think it was 21 where Sergio Perez first came to Red Bull. Or I can't remember who it was. How close they were with the other car at Bahrain. It's like paper width.
Oh yeah, it was. It's great to see that when there's no contact. Both drivers just showing an equal amount of respect. So here's Bennett, fastest lap on those softs. We expected it from the rear of the pack, but here's Ant now behind Morph. Maggots and Beckett's coming up. They'll hang us straight with DRS, and Morph's not going to have it. Is Bo going to be able to get the move done? Here comes Ant, pulls out down the inside. Bo is coming up behind as well, not able to get the move done, Bo, but Ant has passed Morph into P4. Stikovic on Badgeman as well, P11 to 10. Oh, and T. Cali dives down the inside of Mark. Send him sideways. And he's lost 2 places, looking at 3.
They won't be happy about that.
No, will not be happy indeed. It was a rash move from T. Cali.
3-second time penalty for Jay.
That's going to push him back. He's holding. Trying to hold on to the back of the DRS of the Alfa Romeo. But Mark's going again behind the McLaren of Yuri, sorry, not Jay.
As I say, we had another spin. Stikovic.
Yeah. Stikovic is down into what looks like to be P13. Jamal passes him. Bennett will be hoping for a safety car. It is great to see, though, the owner setting the example.
Oh, definitely.
The race isn't over until I stop the stream. Or the fat lady screams. Safety car away from being back up to the rear of the pack. Still holds the fastest lap. Mark just dropping back a little bit from Horatio. Look at the drivers off the first couple of laps now. 5 laps.
Any of them really close?
It's just Mark and Horatio. And Horatio's in the pits, I believe. He is. Horatio's in the pits. I'm not sure if there's wing damage. There's 6 laps on the softs. The 5 laps on the soft, sorry. Tyre wear. Maybe a bit of an issue. Mark, 3 seconds for the Ferrari.
Any tyre damage, so yeah. Just swapping them onto the hards here.
Onto the hards. So we're saying about 5 laps. So we'll be expecting Jay on the hard compound to pit around lap 20.
Unless he throws us a curveball and hits earlier for mediums.
It depends how well the hards are doing. Kevin right behind the Red Bull are Morph now. Coming up the old pit straight into Kops now. Lovely line through there. Would have liked to carry it a little bit more pace, but more fused. Probably a lot more of the curve than what he should have. Here comes Kevin now. Much better lines through Maggots and Beckett's, coming up to the exit onto the old hangar straight now, and he's got the use of DRS.
Here comes Blades on J, making the move.
Yeah, and on the medium tyres, maybe heating them up a little bit better. The hards maybe not coming quite into play yet. We'll see.
Thing is with medium tyres, they could last at least a lap 20, but if you conserved your tyres and didn't push them to max.
Yeah, so just an interesting one. We've got Morph in the pits now. He's the other soft tyre user, so into the pit lane. Sorry, for hards. So now the only two, obviously Bennett, but Yuri actually started on the soft. So I wonder if we're going to see an Alfa Romeo in the pits at the end of this lap from P2.
It all depends on, like I said, conserving your tyre wear.
The mediums are on 11 to 15, I believe. And Jay's actually falling back from the Haas. Just over a second now. Is he going to be able to... I think that's the DRS detection zone just gone. Now he's under it. I don't think it's going to matter. He's not going to get DRS. With the detection zone being, I think it's just at the start.
But Kevin does have DRS. It's
On
too
Jay.
far back to make a move.
But that's going to bring him ever closer, and the use of those DRS zones just brings you closer to the car, especially when they don't have...
Now Yuri has pitted.
A 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I'm not sure. That must be a new rule change here in Division 1.
No, I think it's always been there.
It hasn't. I saw Thompson do it. Oh no, it might be. They might have it on open, and Yuri maybe just has it off.
Alright.
But from P2, Yuri looks like he's going to come out P11 as it stands. That's interesting. The grid's still stacked up. It's going to be interesting when these medium runners start to pit and drop off. 11 to 15, the game said, in terms of pit strategies. Who do you think is going to crack first, Hugs?
I don't think it's going to be Jack. If anything, I'm going to say it'll be out with a Engine or T-Cali.
Speaking of T-Cali, 3 seconds for him.
I'm pretty sure that's another 3 seconds as well, isn't it?
No, just
his first. No.
Jay's got 2. And speaking of Kevin and Jay, Kevin's actually just slung one up the inside at the end of the old hangar straight. Great move by Kevin there.
I think we've had a incident here.
Badgeman.
Well, I think he just had a little bit of a spin.
Yeah, Sticker's going to come all over him now.
Can't see any front wing damage.
Jay's still doing quite well to hold on to the back of the Williams now. Kevin's not sped off. That's horrible light there. Going into turn 3 or 4. No, it's after 2. Going into turn 3 after 2. With Jay's DRS not really helping too much there. Lost 2 tenths from the start of the lap. Here comes Jay though. Will need to hang on to the DRS up the old hangar straight through Cops, Maggots and Beckett's. Just losing a little bit of time on the Williams now, but it's going to have the DRS up the old hangar straight. It's a nice exit. Maybe not carrying as much speed as you want, but that ERS isn't quite as high as Kevin's. Just holding on to the 8 tenths. I think Jay might drop out of it these next lap or 2. unless he can find another gear. No one pitting as of yet on the mediums.
There's no one jumping the gun yet onto hard tyres.
Yeah, it was a lap 11, wasn't it? Lap 11 to 15 was the supposed window. We know drivers in Division 1 like to test the limits of the cars and go above and beyond in terms of tyre strategies.
Oh, yeah.
I won't be past
a spin. Not. And off. I think he's had a little bit of a spin here.
Yeah, I think that's in the last corner, just before the actual pit straight there, dropping him down to P13. We've got some really fast drivers in the bottom four. Yuri, Morph and Bennett, extremely fast. Horatio obviously coming up from D2, sticking with the pack still.
To be fair, we've got to give it to Bennett as well. He's slowly chipping away.
He's getting there. I think he will have to pit again though, because he's on the soft tyres, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he'll pit this lap for hard. He's done 8 laps on them softs. From what we've seen from others, they've been pitting on 5.
Penalties is still another issue. Something that's going to have to be taken into account. The front three do not have any penalties though, so the podium runners, as it stands, we're almost at the halfway point. Jamal closing up to the back of the Alfa Romeo of Ben.
Let's just hope we don't throw any commentators cursed people's way.
No, it normally happens, let's be honest though.
Just got Yuri here making the move on Benjamin.
You mean Badgeman?
I'm dyslexic, come on.
I feel a little bit harsh now.
Speak about him. He's just spun.
The commentator's curse.
Yeah, full on.
That's what happens when you don't say his name right, Hugs. Benjamin. You've been watching Game of Thrones, Uncle Benjamin.
I don't watch that pile of shit.
It's the Night's Watch.
Now we've got the medium lap runners pitting now.
Oh, and we've got Mark actually losing a position to Jay at some point somehow. Oh no, they were already behind each other. It's because, yeah, Kevin had gone into the pits. That's what threw me off. Kevin onto the mediums, going to do 14 laps on them. Where's Kevin going to come out? P8 exits the pit there. It's going to be P9. Yuri's going to do in there. Yuri with the 5 seconds though. Speed in the pit lane.
Just watching this battle here now between Ben and Jamal. Jamal's just keeping him at bay.
He's just extending that half-second gap through Margaret's and Beckett's. Ben very out of shape there. I'm just
Bennett's going to be too happy soon. Check's coming up at him.
Is Bennett spun again? We've got Anne into the pits. We've got...
No, Bennett set the fastest lap in, fastest sector, should I say.
Yeah, Bennett stops again. He's on 2 stops. Because he's on the mediums. So he'll actually be on the fresher tyre compound. 12 laps of fresher. Ant and Mark both in the pits. Mark will be serving his penalty. So Ant. And there's a glitch. It's glitched, ladies and gentlemen. I can still see it. Is the stream on? Yeah, we've got a glitch. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back live